I remember when we first moved here and I was describing our firewood situation. And the feedback I got was, you're a complete idiot. You have no idea how much firewood you're going to use. You're not even scratching the surface. Because I said, you know, we got an acre and a half here with all these trees. And, oh, that wouldn't last you a season, you know, that kind of stuff. I use 4 to 6 cords a year. I use 10 cords a year. And it was just off the charts that I wasn't going to be able to do it. My argument had always been that we're going to live in a tiny house. I'm going to insulate it really well, and we're going to use an efficient wood stove. I don't care how efficient you think it is. That's never going to work. It's funny how nobody ever comes back and apologizes. Well, to make matters worse, I had 8 cords down the hill there that first year. And we did an outdoor heat exchanger for the camper. And admittedly, it was terribly inefficient. I knew it was going to be inefficient. It was an old Franklin wood stove, and a lot of heat was being lost outside. There's just no way to capture it all. So that only gave the people, the commenters, more ammunition to tell me I had no idea what I was doing. Well, I never said the outdoor heat exchanger was going to be efficient. I never said that. I had hoped it would have been a little bit more efficient, but it wasn't. And anyway, I ended up using almost all that 8 cords. Now, something we do have to remember, at the same time, we were building the house and it was all closed in. And we were heating the house while we were, you know, well, Carolyn was putting up all those little pallet woods for the wall. And so we were heating it, and I was heating it all through the night, trying to keep it warm, because the wood was so wet that you just had to run a stupid wood stove inside all the time. But it is quite clear, these people who told me that I had no idea what I was talking about, has any idea what they're talking about. First of all, wet wood. You know, everybody says you got to burn wet wood. Ah, that dry wood, don't do that. But the wet wood, you're using 70% of the heat that you generate, 70% of the fuel from the wood, to burn off the water in the green wood. I understand that people have been using green firewood since the beginning of time. But that doesn't mean that we can't advance and learn something in modern technology that, you know, maybe dry wood is better because you're going to get more efficient out of it. Right now, I think the wood stove, I think, is 85% efficient. So when you take the water out of it, you increase your efficiency. And it, even though it burns faster, which is what everybody is so upset about, it just burns too quick. You can't you know, let it burn through the night. Well, it does burn pretty quick. I will give you that. The wood stove holds heat forever, so you know, we get about 6 hours, 8 hours out of just a few sticks. Probably, I don't know, let's just call it, you know, these little sticks that Carolyn chops up here. I don't know, maybe 9 of these little pieces of stick per burn. So 9 pieces of little sticks per burn to heat us for 6 to 8 hours. But again, they just insisted that wasn't going to work. Well, it not only works, it heats us out of the house. I mean, it's hard to control how much heat's in there. And of course, the first thing they say, open a window. Well, okay, that's why you're burning, you know, 6 to 10 cords a year, is because you're trying to heat the outside. You know, you got to look at this like it's money. This is money. Think about it. You could sell this and make money. I'm certainly saving money because I'm not having to burn gas, plus all the work you put into it. So, no, don't open the window. Don't open the door. What you do is you try to figure out how to use your wood stove, which I feel like I've done a pretty good job. So, as far as it getting through the night, if I start the wood stove, typically, on an average winter day, when I go to bed, the house will stay warm enough that I don't have to start it until the next day. So, you know, it might be 60 degrees inside. Chilly, don't get me wrong, but not terrible. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. So you get up at 4:30 in the morning and you start the fire, and it warms you back up. Now, on the extremely cold nights, negative temperatures, sure, you got to get up in the middle of the night. What we have done, I mean, we got to run the wood stove more during those times anyway. So what I typically do is we'll start the wood stove probably around, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And by 8, let's see, how does that work? Maybe it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, so let's call it 4. So then I go to bed at 8:30. I guess that's the way we did it last year. And then Carolyn stays up. So she'll stay up to 11:30 or so. So then she'll start it at 11:30. And then it's warm until 4:30. So even on the extremely cold days, nobody's having to get out of bed. People are already out of bed. So they just, you know, we just start it then. And so our sleep habits actually make it better to for us to get through these cold nights. But it's just not been as bad as what everybody said. So I cut 15 cords of wood that first year. Well, I guess second year. And people, I said that was going to last 15 years. No, there's no way that's going to last 15 years. You're just out of your mind. Well, I'm not, because we haven't even used, let's see, we've been here, what is this, coming up on, I guess 5 years, 6 years, I don't know. I guess we're coming up on 6 years. So we're nearly half the time of what I said. And we still got a huge stack over there. We got a stack down there. And I've been cutting a little bit extra firewood. You know, the last couple of years, I've cut down, 2 or 3 trees. We cut one over there by the camper. And then, you know, I cut a couple smaller trees down in the woods. Maybe 3 trees down in the woods, small trees. And so I split those, and I just left those over here where the dog is. And I have one split and stacked. Carolyn has re-split all that with this little hatchet. I split it with the maul, but there's no way I can split it that small with the maul. So we have to use the hatchet. And so I do the big splitting, she does a little splitting, and she's done all this within the last couple months. We got more up there, lots in the house, and we've already burned one stack, small stack in the house. Now, of course, this year has been really mild compared to previous winters. Used to be by October 10th, you know, we were running that wood stove a couple times a day, but this year, maybe every other day has been the sequence. You know, maybe there was a time or two where we did it once every day, but most of the time in October, it was just every other day. I think it was like that just the last 3 days. You know, we burned, and then yesterday I don't think we burned, and then the next day we did burn this morning. So it's been pretty mild. So that, hopefully, if we fall into that next pattern for the next 5 years, that's even going to reduce the amount of wood that we need to use. And we've got better at making sure that we use the less dense wood, like walnut, sycamore, in the fall and the spring, and we use the harder woods like oak and hickory in the really cold temperatures, because you just get more heat out of those. And you can actually calculate the BTUs per cord of wood. It's on the internet. So I just don't agree that, you know, well, I mean, I've proven it, that you don't, you know, I guess this is what troubles me with society, is people want more and more and more and more and more, and they think that you can't live without more and more, but then they complain they can't afford anything. Well, you can't afford anything because you need so much. But when you minimize your life, which people seem to think that that's just a terrible, terrible idea. But I've been telling you, I've never been happier in my life having nothing. It's absolutely incredible. I have nothing, and I'm very happy. We don't travel a lot. We don't, you know, have a lot of things. We don't have TV. Our bills are real low. Our house is real small, and we're happy. And now we've got 2 dogs. I mean, I always thought it would be impossible. Where'd that dog go? Oh, there she is. You have 2 dogs in this house, but we're making it work. And the dogs are pretty good, I should say. You know, I need to give them some credit. They really try to to keep themselves small. More so than the cat. I mean, one of the dogs, the Red, she sleeps on the bed all night long. And she has figured out how to make herself small so she's not bothering us. And if we touch her, you know, our foot touches her or something, she'll move out of the way. So she's very accommodating, so that's good. Girly, she likes to sleep underneath the bed most of the time. So we've got a little mat, you know, dog bed underneath the bed that she can lay on. So we're making that work. And when I light the wood stove, you know, I've been doing pretty good this year, not getting it too hot. I've been really good at it. I mean, a couple times it's gotten a little warm, you know, 85-ish, and that's a little warm. But like today I lit it, I don't think we got past 75, so that was a nice comfortable temperature. And I don't know, it's just, I just find the hubris of people amazing. They don't want to learn anything new. They just want to tell you how you are wrong, that you don't know anything. So they scream and holler, but then when you finally prove them wrong, you get an apology, nothing. You know, that Facebook group, you know, lawnmower repair Facebook group I've been on. You know, today somebody asked a question, where does this hose go? So I circled the spot that it was supposed to go in her picture. And somebody said, you don't know anything. You know, you need to learn before you start telling people. That doesn't need to be hooked there. You know, okay. So I deleted it. I just wasn't going to get into the argument. Whatever, you know, I'll just be stupid. You know, we'll just all be stupid. We won't try to learn anything. So I went over to the parts diagram, the actual manufacturer's part diagram, and guess what I found? That the hose goes where I circled. So, you know, they don't want to learn. They don't want to do better. They just want to believe that, you know, we've been burning wet firewood since the beginning of the time. That's why we should always do it. And you are wrong for trying something new. Well, then you're never going to be happy. You're not. You're just going to always be miserable because you can't afford it. And when you get old, you're not going to be able to cut enough wood. I don't know if they're just thumping their chest or if they're the longer I'm on Facebook or YouTube, the more I realize people just love thumping their chest and they have no idea what they're talking about. Just anything to make them sound smarter, even if they're stupid for saying it. So I don't get it. But I guess I'm going to jump off of here. So it is Saturday. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video or on my other channel. I'd really appreciate you go check it out. So I hope I can inspire you. Try something new. Sing, live your dreams. Thanks for watching.